So it's January 7th, 2016 today, and I'm still thinking about the Vajrasattva retreat and all that came up during that, and how on New Year's Eve and past years before I was a Buddhist, and New Year's Day I would make all of these promises and resolutions and how I was going to change, and at one point, stop drinking alcohol and stop drinking coffee and get more exercise and be a better person. And those were very sincere things, and it took a very long time to get a handle on all of those. And then I'm thinking about tonight's review that Venerable Jampa is going to lead about the 12 links, and how motivation is just so critical and how it's so powerful in everything that we do. So there's this section in Geshe Sopa's book on the steps on the path to enlightenment. This is volume 2, which is Karma. I absolutely love this story. I actually love every single word in these volumes. But this is really striking to me. So I'm going to read this, having to do with motivation. And I guess I'll wear these to see it. All right. So, all of our practice starts with observing our motivation. All actions start here. It is the intention behind the action that drives the action. It is the intention that makes the karma negative or positive. Of course, the motivation is not always clear, and sometimes we have a mixed motivation. We can have a profound understanding of virtuous and non-virtuous karma and still be motivated by fear or some other confusing affliction that leads us to act in a negative way. This kind of confusion can lead even advanced practitioners into acting in a deceitful manner. To illustrate these points, we have the following story of the Kadampa Geshe ben Kungo. He was a thief earlier in his life, but once he began practicing the Dharma, he became a very great yogi. Although he lived in retreat in a small hermitage, he became quite famous, and one day he received word that a high government official wanted to visit him. On the day when this important personage was due to arrive, he broke with his usual habit and spent the morning cleaning his little hut, setting out incense and flowers and making a special effort to beautify the place. So, we've been doing the same thing lately. Venerable Children is coming home today in just a little while, and we've been cleaning and beautifying the place. So, all right. Let's see. When Ben Kugyo was finished with this lengthy effort, he sat down and thought about what he'd done. This isn't my usual routine. What were all these preparations for, he thought to himself. He realized he had been acting purely out of a worldly attitude, wanting to impress his important visitor. He saw that he had been motivated by pride and the desire for worldly esteem. What he had done was a wrong action based on a wrong attitude. The moment he realized this, he got up, went to his cooking fire, and took out a bowl full of ashes. Then he scattered ashes everywhere around his hut, rubbed ashes on himself, and generally made a big mess. That action was the real offering, the real Dharma, because it was directed against the strong worldly attitude created by his inner obscuring afflictions. So here's the New Year's resolution that we can really take to heart. Not just on January 1st, not just January 7th, but every single day of the year, this next section. What is a real practitioner? What is real practice for a real practitioner? Well, it's these things. It's not blaming somebody else for our faults. It's not keeping an eye on someone else's poor qualities. It's not worrying about what other people are saying or doing or thinking. Nobody knows what is going on in another person's mind. Now, it doesn't say this in the book, but obviously a Buddha knows, but nobody else knows. But what are we doing? What are we thinking? How are we dealing with the situation right in front of us? Real practitioners are always watching what is going on in their own mind, watching how they react to the events they encounter every minute of the day. They are always protecting themselves from creating non-virtuous karma. So I think it's great if you've gone out and bought an exercise machine. I think it's great if we're all deciding to have a better diet. I think it's great if we're all trying to beautify the place because the abbess is about to arrive. I think it's great, and it's an offering. However, I think these other statements about what real practitioners do are something we can bring to mind every single morning. I'm going to type this out, and I'm going to put it on my puja table. This is what I'm going to tackle in 2016. I said it, you heard me say it. Not blaming someone else for my faults. Not keeping an eye on someone else's poor qualities. Not worrying about what other people are saying or doing or thinking. That sounds like a really austere practice, but I think it's worth it.